esteemed judges, honorable speakers, and distinguished audience, good morning to this anticipated debate. It's my pleasure and privilege to serve you as your chairperson today, and my role is to ensure that the debate proceeds smoothly, fairly, and respectfully. Our today's motion is, should direct democracy be supported in Somalia with a question mark? A topic that's both relevant and thought-provoking. We have prepared teams, the affirmers which are going to agree with the motion and the negatives which are going to disagree with the motion. We expect logical reasoning and well-responded arguments and mostly respect for differing viewpoints. To our audience, we encourage active listening and engagement, but please refrain from interruptions. Let's uphold the spirit of constructive debate where arguments are served and individuals are respected.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ramadan Kareem. The Honorable Chairperson, other officials around the House, allow me to draw your attention on two nations. Our beloved country, Somalia, and Switzerland. This country I'm talking about, called Switzerland, was once divided by religion and also language, but it chose direct democracy, allowing its people to decide through referendums. Today, it's one of the most peaceful and prosperous country because leaders answer directly questions to people. In contrast, Somalia's transition federal government, which is in short form of TFG in 2004, was controlled by a few politicians, warlords and foreign actors, leaving the ordinary citizens faceless. This led to corruption, division of clans as we are in Somalia, because every one of you is Somali and understand, and also the foreigners. Also weak leadership, which led the country to be not as other countries developed. The lesson here is very simple, that a nation succeeds, or a successful nation is being, like its powers are being entrusted by the people. Once again, thank you, the chairperson, the secretary, timekeeper, competing chambers, the chief judge, the manager, audience, teachers, and any other person around here. Our motion here is very clear. Today we are arguing about, the motion is stated like this: should direct democracy be supported in Somalia? I am Abdul Abdukatir, the president of Debate the Club. I'm here to propose the motion with the following points. But before I go deep into my points, let me just explain the motion. Direct democracy. Some of you may ask yourselves, what does he mean by saying direct democracy? Because he already stated on the motion that should Somalia use direct democracy. In this case, direct democracy is a system of governance where the people have the power to choose or to vote for their leaders, their laws, their important decisions. And Somalia, the word Somalia is a country that is being discussed here that is located in the Horn of Africa. Let me start with my points, as I'm going to highlight right now. Promoting national unity and social cohesion. Secondly, refuses misuse of public resources. And lastly, forces the leaders to think before they act. My first point, which says promoting national unity and social cohesion. I'm very much surprised, and I think also you will be surprised due to the research that I did here. I found out that the current system that we are using in Somalia is indirect. And now what we are saying is that Somalia, should it use should it use direct, and Somalia is using indirect. Now here, the case is Somalia, the prime ministers are the one to choose. the members of parliament are the one to choose or to elect the president. And then the president elects the prime minister of the country. Here we go. In 2017, the president who was being chosen has almost, the money that has been estimated that he gave to members of parliament was about 10 to 20 million dollars. He never gave to any citizen, Somali citizen. He just gave these people because he was buying the votes from them. Because we know that the 275 people in the parliament are the ones to choose the president. So in case the president wants to become, like at that material time to win the case, he has to pay some amount of money. Come back to 2022. The president who was 2022, it was current, Honorable Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud, His Excellency, he almost paid 60 to 100 million US dollars to members of parliament. He never gave to Somalia. Can you just imagine if he had given to just Somalia, and then we build the roads, we build the houses, we open public schools, and so on. Go back to 2012 when Honorable Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud was selected his first time. He almost spent a money which was being estimated to 30 to 40 million. Can you just imagine that? And we are among, if you go and do research, Somalia is among the poorest country. How can you, is that a logic even? How can a person, just a single person pays approximately last year 60 to 100 million? This is out of even our logic. In these elections, all the payments were being used to buy the foods. What if they could have given people? My next point is misuses the public resources. In this case, sometimes you might find out that one of the policemen who are highly ranked may use for their own benefits the public resources. Like for example, Kaz, now he wants to go to somewhere else, like he is not even serving the economy, the country, but he just wants to use for his own benefits. Does this help you? You people, you need to ask yourselves, are these people really doing what we expected? Because they don't have to do, because there is no force, because you are not forcing them. They don't want any vote from you. They definitely know that if the president buys the vote from the member of parliament, he will definitely appoint them because they come there as appointment. And this case, as I earlier talked about, it brings division of clans. In this case, when the president pays almost 100 million and comes to power, do you think he will choose you? He won't. This is very clear. Let's be systematic. We are fasting. We can't lie in this material time, right? He has to choose his people. First, he has to elect his people. Then he comes back to other people, which we don't think even time will allow us. As I conclude, we are human beings. We understand. And we have proverbs in English. And I can't think that we can put it in Somali, but I can say it in English, that people who are wise learn from the mistakes of other people. Sometimes people tell you that you tell them to stop certain thing, and then they tell you, we are doing because in order us to gain experience. Which experience are you looking for, to be realistic? You know that your brother has been beaten before you, and now you are going the same direction. Are you serious? Are you mad? Are you not for real? You need to be for real. Sometimes you need to wake up. You definitely know that if you go this hole, that they will still bite you, right? Because they have better. So there's no way that you get encouraged to go there. There's no experience there. So what I would like to conclude is, let us learn from other people's mistake. But the foolish try to learn their own things. They try to say that let me experience my own, which is wrong. So I would like to encourage our country to learn from Switzerland, because the Prophet ﷺ said, learn good things from other people. Don't learn the bad things. So let us learn the good things from Switzerland, and then we develop our country. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I would like to thank Madam in Chair, officials next to her, our beloved Chief Judge, esteemed guests, and you, the audience. In front of you is Fatih Abdurrahman, ready to present her arguments about the motion of today's debate. The motion of today's debate asks a question, which is, should direct democracy be supported in Somalia? And I am answering this question by saying that direct democracy should not be supported in Somalia. Reason being, direct democracy is two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. You might ask yourself, what does she mean by this quote? Let me explain to you, just lend me your ears. Everyone votes on every issue. So if two wolves, the majority, they vote to eat the sheep, the minority, then the sheep is definitely gonna lose. This is why many modern systems use indirect democracy with safeguards like constitutions, courts, and human rights laws to protect minorities from the majority tyranny. Before I go further to present my points, let's dig back into some history and see where things started from, direct democracy and indirect democracy. So I am going to compare between the two, the direct democracy and indirect democracy. Direct democracy, it originated in ancient Athens during the Greek period. At this time, citizens directly vote on every issue. Positions were filled by random lottery rather than elections. No separation of powers, meaning anyone and any citizen could do any job. And it is suitable for a small population. Only wealthy male Athenians whereby they have like land, they own the lands, and their parents were supposed to be also Athenians. Only those kind of people were the ones who were voting at that time. So there was definitely a discrimination. Not everyone used to vote. So let's go to indirect democracy. It developed in Roman Republic and it is also used in today. Citizens elect representatives on their behalf, and it is based for large populations. Separation of powers are included like legislative, executive, and judicial so that there could be a balance in the country. Elections are based on citizenship and age requirements, so there is no discrimination in here. Let me highlight my points before I go further in explaining. My first point is going to be about low voter participation and practicality issues. My second point is going to be lack of expertise and contradictory decision. My third point is going to be about mob rule and short-term thinking. My fourth point is going to be about the need for experts and representatives. So let me explain my points for you so that you can understand what I am standing here for. My first point, regarding low voter participation, Somalia is still rebuilding. So now, like in Somalia, there is 19.7 million people that lives in Somalia, and also in Mogadishu, 2.7 million estimated around there. So now, if we say that we're going to hold direct election, whereby every citizen is going to vote, then that's going to it's very logical. It's going to take a long time, and you don't even think that every citizen is going to do, or every citizen has the knowledge to do that. So it is going to take a long time. Even stable countries like US and UK, voter participation is low. So in Somalia, where many regions still lack access to reliable voting system, direct democracy would lead to even lower participation. Let me go to my second point, which was regarding lack of expertise and contradictory decision making. The average Somali citizen may not have enough information on complex. And I would like you to know that when you are talking about democracy, we don't only mean that voting for presidents. We are also talking about political. We are also talking about economic. We are talking about everything that regards the population and everything that regards the population. So now, you don't expect everyone to have knowledge about this. There are people who went to universities to study this faculty or to expertise in this area. So everyone, when someone who never studied about infrastructure and road development, he stands there and then he votes for that. Do you think that's going to work? Definitely no. Everyone needs to be expert at a decision. That's why it is better to elect someone who is an expert and to be representative of that people so that you can be on the good side. Let me give you a good example, which regards Brexit 2016. The UK public voted to leave the European Union based on misleading promises and estimating the economic and political consequences. Until this date, they are still regretting their decision because since they did direct democracy, they went through losses, so they are still regretting. There's also like another example, public spending versus taxes. If citizens were asked, like you can think, if you ask, do you want free healthcare? You will say definitely yes. Do you want better roads? Yes. Do you want better security? Yes. And if someone asks you, do you want funds? Like, do you want higher taxes to fund them? Definitely no. Now, if you see the Somali people and the taxes, you check them, when most of the people, not like little people, but the other people, the taxes, they are complaining about them. They don't know the logic behind it, but then every time they're like, oh, they're increasing the taxes, we cannot pay this, we cannot pay that, when it is good for their country. This contradiction makes governance impossible. My third point is regarding mob rule and short-term thinking. Somalia has clan-based politics, and direct democracy could lead to mob rule, where the majority votes based on clan interests rather than national unity. Let me conclude. Somalia is an it is in critical stage of development, and direct democracy would create more instability rather than solving existing problems. The country needs strong leadership, expert decision-making, and structured governance. Direct democracy should not be supported in Somalia. Instead, a well-structured indirect democracy with accountable leadership is the best path forward. And I'm sure that if we apply indirect democracy the correct way, then Somalia is going to be in the correct way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the chairperson, the estimated judges, my estimated opponents, my fellow honorables, plus you, audience. Standing before you is Mohammed Said from Form 2, ready to propose the motion which states, should direct democracy be supported in Somalia? The answer to that question for me is yes, because of the following views. Before I go into my views, I would like to deliver you a message from the President of Somalia. President of Somalia, Hassan Sheikh, has delivered a message to the parliament towards direct democracy. He said it is time for us to prepare for direct democracy. He talked about its disadvantages and the country's plans to hold an electoral body in 2026 based on direct democracy. In reference, have you ever felt that the voices of Somalis are not truly heard that affects their daily lives? For years, Somalia has struggled with decision or leadership or governance that feel distant from their needs and desires. Many people long for a system where their opinions matter, where they are not just observers but active participants. For us, sometimes I ask myself a question: what are the people of Somalia doing when these people are choosing? Why don't their opinions matter? Sometimes I ask myself that question. Now, if I go into my first view, the power of the people. For too long, the Somalis have been sidelined in decision-making that impact their daily lives. The struggle, hopes, and dreams of average citizens are often unheard. So direct democracy empowers the people, giving them voice in the matters that shape their life. Imagine a country where all Somalis, and regardless of the background or clan, has the power to influence the path forward. Guys, this is not just a political shift. It's a beginning of new era where Somalis are the real architects of their destiny. My second view: economic growth through public-driven policies. If we practice direct democracy, decisions will be handed over to the people or to the citizens, meaning that all needs may be reflected to the economic needs of people. So what will happen? Now, the government now will consider resources or they will allocate the resources to sectors that truly benefit people, like education, healthcare, and infrastructure, rather than being corrupted or mismanaged. When the economy is built on the priorities of people, people can experience stable and sustainable economic growth. My third point: breaking the chains of disempowerment. For many Somalis, the feeling of powerless in the decision made by distant leaders has been overwhelming. Now, the sense of disempowerment affects not only political engagement, but also personal belief or attitude. So direct democracy has the possibility to break these chains and give his people the freedom to get and to make decisions directly and build a society that can work for everyone. So it's about moving from passive role to an active role where every Somali can say, I am part of this change, or I am part of Somali's future. So in conclusion, the future of Somalia is in our hands. For too long, decisions have been made for the people rather than by the people. Decisions have been concentrated in fewer hands and many people's voices were ignored. But now we are in an age of a change. We are in a defining moment. We are in a turning point. So now sometimes we need to ask ourselves the question: how long will we remain like becoming a passive spectator? Like now, explosion happens in a country and we say, that explosion happened. That my brother died. When will we remain? Will we change or will we be the change? Will we die when we don't know what caused us to die? And if I conclude with a proverb, as African proverb says, if you want to go faster, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. Meaning that long and lasting democracy depends on direct democracy. So people should be the ones who decide on how, and the leader, not the leader choosing himself by paying politicians or members of the parliament money. So the choice is ours and the future is ours. Together we build and shape the history, and together we will build a nation that stands strong for generations to come. Thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair, esteemed judges, my worthy opponents, and the House at large. In front of you is Salma Abdurrahman, standing to oppose the motion which is, should direct democracy be supported in Somalia? And as opposer, I'm saying no. But before I go far, let me share with you this information. Imagine a country whereby each citizen is voting on each law, policies, and decisions. Sounds empowering, doesn't it? But Somalia, where its instability still lingers, where the decisions of clans influence politics, where some terrorists exploited the democratic depots, democracy isn't just unrealistic, it's dangerous. As African proverb goes, a boat does not go straight if each one is rowing on their own way. Somalia is struggling with its instability and cannot afford direct democracy, whereby millions make an instructed decision. Governance is about structure and leadership, not a chaotic system where vulnerable is manipulation. First, you may ask yourselves, what is direct democracy and indirect democracy? Direct democracy is when the citizens vote for the president they want for themselves. What is indirect democracy? Indirect democracy is when the president is elected by the MPs or the representatives. Now, let me go through my points. First point, lack of political instability. What do I mean by this? Somalia has faced many years of war, government collapse, and political fights between different parties. You may ask yourselves, why is this a problem for direct democracy? Well, let me clarify it for you. Direct democracy means people vote on important decisions frequently. So if the country is not stable for organizing votes, and if the country is not stable, it will be hard for it to organize votes for the people. And Somalia has faced decades of war due to civil wars, clan conflicts, and terrorism. Direct democracy requires an environment which is stable and every citizen can participate without fear and violence. In 2021, Somalia has faced political deadlock over elections with disputes between the president and opposition side. Such environment, direct democracy could further deepen divisions rather than promote unity. My second point, low literacy and political awareness. What do I mean by this? Many people in Somalia do not have formal or enough education about politics. In indirect democracy, people need to understand complex issues before voting. If people do not understand the long-term effects of politics, they may vote based on emotions and false information. Third point, which is my last point, security and terrorism. Some terrorists in Somalia, which I don't want to mention their name, are controlling some parts of Somalia, which is affecting direct democracy in major issues. These groups intimidate voters, manipulate the process, and target those who disagree with their views. In 2017, this group of terrorists attacked Mogadishu Hotel during election discussions, showing their ability to disturb democratic processes. If Somalia adopted direct democracy, voting events may become targets for the attacks or discouraging participation. I would like to end by saying, let me dig in history. The first president of Somalia, Aden Abdullah Usman, was elected by representatives or the members of the parliament. And at that time, Somalia was ranked one of the powerful countries in politics found in Africa. So that indicates indirect democracy is good for the people. And if the country wants to participate in direct democracy, that country must consider its stability. And if we look at Somalia, it's not stable enough. So how do you think we can carry out direct democracy if the country is not stable? So I would like to end by saying indirect democracy is good for Somalia rather than direct democracy. Thank you.